Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. So you might have noticed all of the succulent varieties that I have been posting of late. Everything looks very easy, and if you're wondering why do people say that succulents are so difficult, the reason is because I have filtered the easy succulents for you guys, but I thought it is getting very monotonous, so I thought that I'm going to give you a new surprise. Now this is how a difficult succulent tends to look like. It is an hybrid. Now I know a lot of you guys might be wondering, well, it's of no use buying this succulent because it says it's difficult. Now the reasons I will tell you, because when you're going to look at this succulent, you will be tempted to buy. It is a slightly expensive succulent, so I do not want you guys to waste your money unless and until you have a good amount of experience with handling succulents, and only if your environment permits or if your environment is favorable enough to grow this particular variety. Now this is an Echeveria variety. It is a variety of Echeveria Colorata E.Walther. This is the name that I could find, but there are so many different names. This is the name that I could find close enough, but at the end of the day it belongs to the variety of Echeveria, so the care, the dormancy and everything remains the same. Now because I fell in love with this succulent, I purchased 3 of them. These were the earlier ones, and this was probably a year and a half back that I had purchased. Slightly weak, but the others are doing quite well. You can see the color of this particular variety. It's absolutely gorgeous, very beautiful, completely covered with farina. I definitely do not want to touch this succulent by my hand because I do not want to disturb the farina. The only way I try to clean the dust from this variety is by the help of my succulent blower. I do not touch brush as well. I do have a brush. A lot of my succulents I do use a brush. Ensure that the brush tips do not have any form of oil. It has to be completely dry. There should not be any moisture or water on the brush if you're using, but I still do not use a brush on this variety because it can be very finicky for the succulent. I do not want to take any chance. So as I said, this is a difficult variety of succulent, and I'm going to tell you why. One, the major factor is going to be your climate and your environment. This succulent does not prefer a very humid environment. Most probably it will start to rot. So if you're a person who belongs to a coastal area which is very moist, there's a lot of moisture in the air, you belong to a coastal area, it's warm, it's humid, most probably this succulent will not be able to handle that kind of an environment. This succulent prefers very dry and a cooler temperature, and only then it tends to do quite well. It's been growing, it's been around 2 years I have this variety. Growth is very slow, not much growth, a lot of farina, and I tend to put it out in a good amount of morning direct sunlight. I even expose it to slightly afternoon direct sunlight, like for an hour or so. So basically, let's say that it receives sunlight from 7 a.m. until 12 to 12:30 noon, because it likes a lot of sunlight. I wouldn't dare to put this succulent in shade, or I wouldn't dare to put this succulent indoor or in shade, because it is going to rot for sure. I know that this, by the look of it, I can realize the amount of farina present on this is for a reason, because it can handle a good amount of morning direct sunlight and slightly stronger light, because you can see it's very chalky. This probably was a drop of water that was fallen down on the leaf, which was ignored, and you can see there is a burn, but other than that the succulent is doing absolutely beautiful. The same soil mix, if you are from a cooler environment and if your environment is cool and dry, this succulent will definitely work out for you. You have to use a very loose, porous and well draining soil. Ensure that you do not water it very often, it will get rotted. You can see my succulent is slightly compact, which means I am underwatering it, but not to an extent wherein it's getting wrinkles. You can see it's well hydrated. The wrinkles are the lower leaves are looking very fresh, not much wrinkles. Usually the lower leaves will dry out. This lower leaf is drying out, but I'm not going to pull it out. I just let it dry completely. I do not want to play around with this succulent because you never know what can go wrong. Another difficult part about this succulent is the leaf propagation, and that's where it gets even more tricky. It was a clean cut. I had not watered the leaf yet it rotted. Very difficult to propagate these wire leaves. Probably I will try it in summers because that's when it's their growing period. I think this is something that I plucked out during the winters. During winters, don't even try propagating, don't even try leaf propagating. This variety as well as Echeverias, they will not propagate via leaves during the winters, so you have to be very careful. Do not unnecessarily pluck out leaves during the winters. They will not be successful. You can see without even watering this leaf, it has gone off. I can't even use this leaf anymore. So how do we multiply the succulent? I haven't tried multiplying, and I'm not going to try that because I do not want to even touch the succulent for whatever reason. But there is a little bit of success with this tiny little guy. I thought that I'm going to lose this guy for sure, but it has started to bounce back. It has a lot of new growth, and this is where I seen a small little pup growing. I don't know if it's going to be successful, but fingers crossed. I think it should work out. There is a tiny little pup. I'm taking good care of it. A lot of farina was damaged while moving it around. You can see this is how it looks when the farina is damaged. You can see now the leaf is exposed. I cannot put it under strong afternoon sunlight. It will definitely get burnt. I'm not sure how the farina got disturbed. Probably while repotting it. I am sure I have to be very careful. So this is how the succulent looks like. So it is a difficult level of succulent if you are a beginner. If you are from a place that is very warm and very humid. So if you are from a coastal area wherein the humidity is very high, I would advise to skip this succulent, even though it's very tempting. But again, it depends upon you. If you want to still take a chance, you're always welcome to do so. So pretty much I haven't seen any mealybug attack because as you can see, it's loaded with farina. Mealybugs, it's going to be very difficult for them to attack a succulent that has a good amount of farina. They usually cannot attack because it's a waxy coating on the succulent. It becomes very difficult for the mealybugs to get attached to this type of succulents. So this was all about the difficult succulent. All this while we spoke about a easy succulent. So this is how a difficult succulent looks like. Now it's completely your call. If you want to still go ahead and try it out, you are always welcome to do so. You can always experiment and see how things tend to work out. So as I said that this is a variety of Echeveria. It will get into its growing period now during the summers. Winter was their dormant period. Again, with fertilizers, I do not want to even comment on that because it's an hybrid. If you tend to misbalance the nutrients and if you happen to add too much of nutrients, definitely this succulent will have issues. I do not use any fertilizers as of now. I don't think that I need to use any fertilizers because it's doing absolutely fine. I don't see any problem with the succulent, so I'm not going to be commenting anything on the adding of nutrients. But if you want to add, you can do it during the summers. What I would suggest, in case if you are adding any kind of liquid fertilizers, please do it probably once in 2 months. Do not over fertilize a hybrid succulent. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep propagating.